Hi YouTube, and welcome to the We All Juggle Knives channel. This is the Victorinox S16, a design first produced by Wenger, but Wenger and all its designs have been purchased by Victorinox, so now they are producing this design. They've switched out a few components for the Victorinox version, particularly the can opener, as well as the awl and reamer tool. Now this is 3 1/4 inches in overall length and about 2.6 ounces. So a great compact little Swiss Army knife. And to give you a good size comparison, here is my Spyderco ZDP Delica. Yes, the Delica, a fairly small folding knife, but this S16, noticeably smaller even than a Delica. Okay, so this is super easy to carry. Alright, let's go through all the tools super quick. You have a spear point blade, full flat ground, 2 1/2 inches. You have a can opener with a flathead screwdriver. The blade is a locking blade, by the way. You have a reamer and awl. You have a Phillips screwdriver. You have a nail file and a nail cleaner. You have springy scissors, and you have a cap lifter with wire stripper and a flathead. And you also have a toothpick and tweezers, which fit in those slots there. Alright, so those are all the tools on this implement. Now, as far as the functioning of the locking blade, see, it is locked. You depress this to disengage the lock, and then you can close the blade. Alright. Now, this might seem like a bad place to put it, but it is actually a lot. You can't just disengage it by hitting it against something. That's not going to disengage it. So, yeah, don't worry about that. You're not going to accidentally disengage it if you just brush against it. Okay, it requires consistent, decisive, continuous pressure all the way down. And if you just disengage it a little bit, it springs right back up. Okay, so it requires, you know, purposeful, continuous pressure to disengage it, right? So I have no problem with the placement of that, because even if you're cutting, you're not going to continuously press this as hard as you would need to disengage it accidentally. So yeah, that is a good mechanism. It's safe in my opinion. Okay, a real quick guide to knife selection for this S series of blades. The S14 is this same knife, but with a corkscrew instead of the Phillips driver. Okay, the S18 is this same knife, but with a saw added. So if you go camping a lot, you need a saw. It's a little bit wider and heavier because of the saw, but it would be very good for that. Now, if you're in the suburbs, you probably won't need a saw, so you might as well just get this S16. And the S17, it adds a saw, but again, it replaces the Phillips with the corkscrew. Okay, I hope you got all that. There's definitely going to be a quiz. I'll put it in the text description box. Now, this Victorinox Evo has replaced the old Wenger components. Okay, this is the old style, the Wenger can opener. You see that there? And this is the new Victorinox one that's going to be on these older, you know, rebranded Wenger designs. So that is a difference there. The old one does not have a flathead, but it was more useful as a kind of like a improvised box cutter. All right, but these are no more. This is an old Traveler. And also, this is the old style Wenger awl, basically. You see it doesn't have a hole, and it does not have an edge at all. Whereas they've replaced that on this. Hold on. They've replaced that with the Victorinox style, which has the hole and which has kind of a little bit of an edge there. Okay, so those are the main differences between the old and new components. Now you might be wondering, what is the difference between this S16 and the Victorinox Super Tinker? because they're very similar in terms of the tool selection. Alright, basically the only differences are this. This has a locking blade. This is a 1/4 inch shorter in the closed position. The Super Tinker is 3.5 inches. This is 3 1/4. It might not seem like a lot, but actually that is a big difference in Swiss Army knives, like a 1/4 inch. So this is a little shorter than the Super Tinker. This has the ergonomic grips, you can see there. And you know, sometimes I think that these grips don't look as just artistic and as nice as the traditional, but I have to admit, as far as function, they do give a better grip. Alright, so it has the ergo grips, and the last difference is this has the nail file and cleaner instead of the smaller blade. I do like the nail file and cleaner. And, you know, if you're going to have two blades, I would prefer that they be very different. Like, I don't just want a shorter version of the main blade. I'd prefer, you know, a serrated Wharncliffe or something if it had two blades. So yeah, I do like that it has a file, and as I said, people modify the file to be a screwdriver sometimes too. You know, as far as having a second blade, this blade is already only 2 1/2 inches, so it's not like this is a huge unwieldy blade. So yeah, I just don't feel that I need an even shorter blade. I'd rather have the file, but they're both good blades. You know, don't blame me if I pick up the Super Tinker in the future just because they're both really cool blades. Oh, and one more difference I thought of. The Super Tinker actually has the parcel carrying hook in the back as well. Alright, so one more difference. Now, what do I think of the tool selection on this relative to the small size and lightweight? Excellent, very efficient tool selection. It has all the classics that date back to the old GI knives, which had a reamer, cap lifter, bottle opener, and knife blade. Okay, that goes way back into history, those 4 components. So it has that basis. The Phillips Screwdriver, quite useful in the modern day. The scissors, also quite useful. I think the only thing people could argue about is the nail file, nail cleaner. Is that useful? Well, if you're a gear reviewer, it's very useful because your nails have to be clean, or trolls will just send you hate mail and death threats. But seriously, that nail file is also useful for a number of reasons. Number one, the file is not just for nails. It works on things like plastic. So if you deal with a lot of plastic electronic components, or if you build models or something like that, you can smooth out plastic components with the file. Also, there are many people who modify the end of the file into a screwdriver. Yeah, now the toothpick, I don't really need the toothpick, but I'm fine with it because it doesn't really add any weight or anything. I think all of these tools are quite efficient for this small package, and I would consider this an in-the-pocket, everyday carry Swiss Army knife. I think it's one of the best for EDC.